In this episode, we want to talk about the scariest videos on the internet. So if you're afraid, it is better not to watch this video. The first thing I want to talk about is a mummy known as Sleeping Beauty. And this mummy is different from all the mummies in the world. Why? Let me tell you its story. There were a series of tunnels, and in the 16th century, there were 45 bodies of bandits who had no place to bury them, and they decided to put the bodies of these bandits in these tunnels. But the strange thing that happens in their bodies do not start to decompose, but are healthy. It's as if these tunnels were like that, and the physical and environmental conditions were such that these bodies became mummies. So these tunnels became famous, and people started paying money to have their graves there and put them there. But the demands are so high that in 1880 these tunnels are closed and they are completely full, and they do not allow a body to be buried there anymore. But after they closed the tunnels, they let 2 more people in, one of them in 1911. There was a person who worked in the American government, and after that, in 1920, a little girl named Rosalina Lombardo died. There is not much information about this little girl, but locals' legends say that this girl was one of the soldiers of the American army, to distinguish and allow that a child to be in a tunnel. They say that Rosalina's father, when Rosalina's died, became so upset and heartbroken that she went to one of her friends who used to keep the corpse of an animal healthy and dry them, and asked him to dry Rosalina's body to keep it healthy. Utum does exactly the same, and Rosalina's corpse becomes one of his masterpieces because to keep her body healthy, he invents a completely new formula. And usually, to do this, they pull out body parts, but he doesn't even do that with her. He just pulls out the blood from Rosalina's body and then fills her body with the liquid he made himself, which is how her body may she stay from you and outside. And even though it has been more than 100 years since Rosalina's death, her body is so healthy. And that is why we call her Sleeping Beauty. Well, what I said is not the scary part of the story at all. The scary part of the story is that many claim that Rosalina's spirit is still hunting her body. But why? The answer to this question is that Rosalina's blinks a lot. And yes, you heard it right. The body of a child who has been dead for more than 100 years blinks. This was not only the claim of those who saw Rosalina's body up close, but there are even photographers who were able to see this. Take a photo. The next thing that keeps me awake at night is a subject called photography after death. Although it is not right to take a picture of a dead person and no one does it, I must tell you that around 1839, which is when cameras were invented, this became common. People used to take pictures with their family members who died, and these pictures are one of the most horrible things. It's horrible because the eyes of the dead are open in the pictures, but I can't post it due to the conditions of YouTube. The next topic is about minions. You must all know the minions, and you probably know that the minions love bad people, their stories and their madness. If I tell you that the story of the minions is inspired by the greatest and most terrible dictator in the history, what will be your reaction? This theory says that the minions were inspired by the Jewish children who were captured by Nazis in World War II and taken to their own camps for experiments. German scientists need people who can do terrible experiments and have no problem with this. The children who were imprisoned were subject to these tests. Some of the tests that were conducted included that these children were exposed to dangerous gases, so they were given a series of hats to put on their heads to test all the hats. Let them see how strong it is and test the gases. And the horrible thing is what you learn by looking at these hats. Yes, that's right, minions. Now tell me if you wake up like me tonight or not. Well, this is from today's program. I hope you liked it. Thank you for supporting me by liking and subscribing.